In the bottom right from Raise Your Edge, we've got PtitDrogo.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to put it. Like, if we were talking about matchups, if this was one of the later games that we were casting today, we would have talked about it today as like, hey guys, this is going to be one of the big matches of the day. Make sure you're here when we get to this, you know, because obviously we can joke about matchups like Rain or Bly, but we have an idea in our mind of who's going to win that, no matter how entertaining the series may end up being. But souL Drogo is a great matchup for exactly that reason that you said. It also that, you know, these guys serve those roles as like the practice partners for some of the other phenomenal players, and we see them always competing in these tournaments and trying to get it done. As I say that, I'm getting very anxious watching this pro blues hit points. But yeah, this should just be an awesome best of 3 between two extremely talented players. And I know that these guys aren't as tired as me because it's what, like 9 hours ahead where you guys are. So y'all should be good, ready to go, and give me some nice Starcraft to wake me up with.
Yeah, no, I hope so. I know Drogo might be like early on in his day. You know, his day doesn't quite start until the afternoon for most people. So that's just, but that's just a Drogo lifestyle choice.
Pro gamers, huh?
Drogo says he plays best when he first wakes up. It's just that is actually when DreamHack starts.
What? there's so many chemical things happening when you're waking up that take like a couple of hours to really hit. That is impressive. That is impressive. He must have his I guess that's what the monster's for then, Wardy. That helps get you focused and ready to go, huh?
Yep. I mean, maybe just Drogo when he wakes up. What he needs to wake up for the memes, the bants, right? So the Starcraft is naturally there. It's just to get onto the Twitter game. That's what he needs to wake up for. So, yeah.
Yeah, he seems like the kind of guy that has his homepage on his internet set to like r/meme economy or something, you know? Like those are the stonks that Drogo trades in.
He wakes up, he sees what's hot, and he nods. He's like, okay, I'll play a best of 3. And now I've got my content.
Yeah, it's the real thing we need to see is the screenshot of his desktop where there's 2 folders. It says if I win today, if I lose today. He's already got multiple different memes ready. If I lose to Mind Drops, if I lose to Banshees. If I win with DTs, if I win with Macro.
It's just a massive flow chart of which way you go.
Haven't seen Drogo's Twitter. It wouldn't surprise me. These Adepts doing a nice little bit of poking though. It's gonna get the Hellion.
Yeah, I love getting the Hellion because that obviously means the Adepts can't be chased down. And obviously, usually it can be obviously then denied scouting, but this Rupert gets a good scout anyway. And the scout is Phoenix. Very early on here, just going straight to Phoenix, nothing else. Very good defensively, of course. Now, souL's not going to do anything to be aggressive now. He knows what it is, so he's going Viking Cyclone. But even then, you know, the Phoenix are good against those units if they come across the map to try and be aggressive. And the Phoenix are then going to be very good at just keeping you safe, put a bit of pressure on. You know, even against tank pushes, right? The Phoenix become a core defense because you need them to lift up those tanks and to slow down that splash.
Yeah, well, that's like one of the most popular types of styles that we see out of Terrans in the early game too. When it comes to that Hellion, is a lot of the time you're trying to throw that in, or it can be like a Hellion follow-up build. And obviously, we can see in this game that it's going to be a second Cyclone, a second Viking. souL's playing this one close to the chest in regards to not taking damage or giving anything up against the air presence that Drogo secures early on. But it's you know, it's a relief when you get that kill for the Protoss side that you have the expectation, okay, if they were going to go for that type of thing where they were pocketing Hellions that I didn't see, they're probably not now. So he can kind of stay out on the map and not feel like he's risking as much by chilling out here on the field. Now we do have that faster armory coming in with the fast third command center. So souL is setting himself up to have everything he needs economically, but also for his harass. And I guess the big question that I'm wondering now, Wardy, I'm curious your thoughts on this. Is he going to be able to try to slip a mine across the map? Because he's building extra racks. Like, it's not mech, right? But he's investing a lot into his gas and into this fast armory.
Yep, nice quick armory straight into drilling claws. He loves this. He loves this just mine aggression. Like, this is just souL in a nutshell lately in TvP. Not every time, but like a lot of the time. And it's dangerous, right? Because all game long, you're worrying about those Widow Mines, and even if you have the Phoenix, they are great against Widow Mine drops, but the Phoenix don't want to just sit at home and guess which direction the Widow Mine drop is coming from, right? They want to be out on the map, they want to get some lifts, they want to get rid of some SCVs, so yeah, it's a kind of a frustrating little style to play against, and we'll see how well souL can put it to use.
Yeah, 4 Phoenix out on the map isn't really a terrifying number. The follow-up you're always going to be thinking about against a bio player with this type of build is obviously Marines are going to be something to be concerned about. So the transition pretty smooth into Colossi as that third Nexus is already just about saturated. Puts Drogo in a pretty nice economic spot. When you don't take damage early on from Terran, this is what ends up happening. And that's what the mine drops obviously want to mitigate. But the Protoss generally gets about 7 to 8 workers ahead. And now he's up 52 to 61, fits exactly within the frame that a Protoss should be in at this time. And this is why we always talk about the Terran strategies revolving around these early game based aggression, is you want to slow down that economy, because some Protoss players will try to use that faster third to leverage it into a big timing to knock the Terran off of their third, or just take a slightly earlier fourth and then try to contain the Terran on 3 bases. But we'll have to see if souL can find the opportunity to get in. He's playing pretty greedy himself, just immediately flies the third CC out, maybe recognizing, hey, it's going to be hard to get anything done. I recognize that because of the Phoenix control and a respect he has for Drogo's control of those Phoenix. So we kind of end up with, well, frankly speaking, Wardy, it's been a pretty passive start to this one.
Yeah, it has. There's a couple of adepts early, and since then, really not much else. And it's funny because it's passive. Well, they're all set up to be aggressive, right? The Phoenix are there to go and attack.
Yeah.
The Widow Mines are ready to go, but neither of them want to end up, the Phoenix don't want to be out of position. The Widow Mines don't want to fly into Phoenix, so I just left here kind of waiting for the next step of the game, which is going to be a 4th base. It's going to be a Ghost Academy. We are going to set up into something that just goes into that kind of mid into like later game transition already. Even you start thinking about second tech choices as the Protoss player. What splash damage are you going to, are you going to use to complement this army? Right now, it's just Archons. Do we move into Storm? Do we think about Disruptors? Obviously, from the Terran, you get up those Ghosts. You get a 4th base, maybe Liberators. Obviously, depends a lot on what the Protoss wants to do, but we do finally have a Widow Mine drop that's going to make the main base, Nate.
Yeah, it looked like the Phoenix were on their way back to catch it, and he moved the Cyclones and Vikings to try to intercept those, but the medevac makes it in. 11 probes killed. I mean, the value of killing them at this point versus a few minutes earlier, right? It's a little bit less, but it is still a nice amount of damage, because now you don't have as much of that pressure to try and even out the economy. The second wave hits that natural. Okay, well, I take it all back now. You're basically telling Drogo, you put a gun to the Protoss' head and you've said, you're going to have to fight me right now, or this is only going to get worse. Look at that mine reposition above the mineral line of the 3rd base. Beautiful.
Oh no. And
bing!
You know what as well? Those probes are like super choked up because it's like the shield battery's building there, or the cannon's building there as well. It's painful. I mean, this push right now is scary. 3 Colossi, a bunch of Archons. The defense against this, well, double bunker tank is obviously good. It's just you don't have anything to immediately help shut down the Colossus. So it's a little scary. souL is kind of hanging on in there. But look at how much defense he's needed to just even get close to holding this off. But I think he's there now, right? These Vikings will eventually get rid of the Colossi. Even still, 15 SCVs lost. You see a couple of
He's still up.
In. Yeah,
the mine's detonated again. He's still at almost double the economy of his opponent. But this kind of comes back to what you were saying, is he needs to reach a position where he can actually hold this attack. He needs to get the Protoss off of him. He needs to stop bleeding out the economy. And you need to be really careful in these little situations, because even that orbital command, which could be very easily lifted right now, is getting targeted quite hard. And if you lose one of your command centers like that and you're down to just 2 bases or 1 base, then your SCV count doesn't matter, because the Protoss still has 4 Nexi that they can split that lower amount of probes around to try and bring the economy back. But just a 10 worker difference at the end of the day from this point. He did have the 4th command center canceled, but I guess he's just going to tap out. Drogo.
Yeah.
The microwave.
You know, put your phone in the microwave. I'm sure there's some memes to be made about that. If anyone can make them, it would be our red Protoss bottom left. PtitDrogo.
And his opponent in the northeast position, leading the series 1-0. He is souL.
I just want a Spotify playlist, listen to all my favorite intro tracks over and over.
Yeah, exactly.
Just between seasons, I'm kind of missing the DreamHack Master. If I put my Spotify playlist on, it feels like we're introducing the players all over again.
Exactly. We can get Wake Me Up When September Ends for somebody. I'm sure some memer out there will want their intro song to be Black Parade. We can go deep on this, Wardy. There is no bottom to the abyss. That is the point. So probe's a little bit annoying. Command center's built off position. As much as everyone's like, can't you just lift it? LOL. Still very annoying. You may not realize this. This actually does tilt Terran players off the face of the earth, despite the fact that we wear the little happy mask over our faces while we are crying about it. And the Reaper's going to go to scout, but he did build the extra Marine behind it. Didn't just go straight into reactor, so the probe can't chill there too long. And that bunker, Wardy, we know if you skip it as a Terran and the Adept gets there super fast, you're usually feeling sour about that when your SCV gets killed.
Yeah, that bunker is my best friend early game, Nate. It's it's a necessity. You just do not want to go without that. It just makes your life so much more difficult. If you feel like you can get away with it, then great. But a lot of the time, it's just not worth skipping it. 100 minerals. That's the thing, though. 100 minerals does sink into that Terran build order a little bit, so it's amazing if you can skip it. But I mean,
well,
how
look
much
at that.
everything else? Yeah, it's
He
up right now.
He built the bunker, and he gets his command center delayed anyway.
I mean,
There is no justice in this world, Wardy.
I mean, if there's no bunker, it'd be even more delayed because this SCV would be dead as well. Okay,
That's
this
true.
SCV died anyway.
Well, there you go. So what are we fighting for? Why are we still here?
Why are we building bunkers?
Well, the bunker looked cool at least, you know. We'll say that much.
The bunker had a
does
job.
die.
It just didn't do its job.
Yeah, that's true. That's a very good point. The funny thing about it is we always talk about how the bunker needs to be next to the command center, but then you're like, well, when the command center is out of position, the bunker effectively ends up being pretty far away from where you actually want it to be because it's not zone. It doesn't zone anything out when it was, because now it's far away from it again. Look at this. Look at this wonderful analysis we get to bring to early game TvP, Wardy. Don't worry, guys. We're not missing anything. It's the same build setup as last time. Cyclone Viking against Phoenix. Nothing wild's happening.
Yeah, no, it's exactly the same as the last game, which is great because I really felt like we didn't get enough of that first 6 minutes of the last game, Nate, where we just
sat there powering up like it was 7 episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
There were 7 episodes of Dragon Ball Z, but then the fight actually didn't last for like 10 more episodes after that. It was actually just like, you know, we dropped some mines and then the bad guy disappeared. It was like, shit, what?
Like,
when did that happen?
That's it. He's just dead.
And look at that result. Thermal 1-0 against souL here over on the B stream. I'm sure they're doing a great job of casting some epic TvZ action.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I wonder if they both sat there and chilled for the first 10 minutes as well. So one pylon does not block a Reaper from going up there, guys, in case anybody was curious. So Drogo is going to get scouted out. He sees a tremendous number of adepts. And Wardy, if I'm a Terran player and I see my opponent building this many adepts, there are only 2 things in my mind. Either A, I need to wall off the front of my natural because my opponent's going to try to drown me in them. Or B, there's likely to be some sort of warp prism-based shenanigans afoot. Like Phoenix Adept you can do some stuff with, but if Drogo doesn't try to do anything with the adepts, I will end up scratching my head at this because, well, let's face it, past like the 8-9 minute mark, once Terran gets a decent amount of army with stim, adepts kind of just suck.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of with you, man. Like, it's way more adepts than what you would usually build, and like they're gonna do something. Like they're gonna shade in.
He's coming.
I mean, it's 5 adepts that have no upgrades. The Phoenix aren't here. Like,
it's not enough to be scary, and it's also too much to be like, oh, I'm just chilling, you know?
Yeah. I mean, what did that do? I mean, simple racist deep
Great question, Wardy. Yeah. What did it do? I found myself wondering the same thing.
Yeah, I really don't got nothing for that one. He's going to try and shade up again and see if will raise again.
Okay, I'll give you benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give Drogo benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's seen a different game that souL played on this map where he moved out and the adepts he wanted to do a big counter with, right? He was expecting maybe a little marine tank move out, maybe not the same exact build from the last game. And that's why he's like, all right, if I build 5 adepts, I can kind of contain him, pressure him, keep him back from moving out. But we know that's not the case because he's literally got his 3rd command center already on location. And he's probably ready to just take that and start turtling up while he gets the rest of his upgrades.
Yeah, it is just weird, right? Because it's just the adepts, they just don't really do as much transitioning through. Like, these were a couple of extra stalkers. Even if you're not going blink, it's still something that can help out a little bit. It's still something which eventually is probably going to be useful. These adepts really just have no later game use in this scenario. Like going into Phoenix Colossus, you know, now going to go charge. Like,
I get a few for scouting. I get a few for scouting. I get a few for harass. Oh, I take some big tank shots there. But when you go above like the scouting / light poke number, but without like fully committing to it, it's like picking up 7 packets of sugar when you get coffee when you only intend to use 2 of them, you know? It's like, what exactly was the game plan here? Because the Phoenix are going to get pushed back too. Double Viking openers from Terrans, by the way, have been really good at shutting down this Phoenix harass.
I wonder if maybe he just wanted to get in, lift a couple units with Phoenix, and he just thought the adepts might be able to fight everything else, but
Yeah. I can only assume that he expected a different build, right? That's the most rational thing.
I think it looks silly right now, but he does this at other times. We're like, oh my God, those adepts were such a good decision.
Yeah. What I'm trying to say, I guess, is that as much as we poke fun at it, I think there's a different scenario that he had this set up for, because Drogo is, you know, maybe that's one of those problems of being too smart, right? Like maybe his brain has so many wrinkles in it that it was hard for him to do the normal thing because he couldn't not take into consideration what souL has done on this map before. There you go. Drogo's actually too smart sometimes to do the most efficient build. Oh, this mine drop could be terrifying though.
Yep, he does have drilling claws, remember, so you got to react to this super quickly. I think he's going to blow up a Stalker there. I mean, that's not a bad start, and he might just get his Widowmine burrowed, and okay, nice Phoenix there. I mean, that was the only way you're going to save that though, right? Because otherwise you're going to have to run those probes.
That's impressive still though. Like it's hard to do that when drilling claws is done to get that.
Yeah.
You have like what, a frame or two for the Phoenix to lift it. And if you have any lag, yeah, you're dead, right? So that's a nice little maneuver there. And he's set up to do a big attack just like last game, except Wardy, this time he's not going to lose 40 probes behind it. And that scares me for souL because he had a bunch of bunkers last time. He had Widow Mines, he had tanks, he had turrets. Didn't matter. He got rocked. But he doesn't have the same backstab potential, and that scares me. How is he going to stop this?
I actually love as well that Drogo comes in from this side, because now you're going to fight one bunker at once. Everything's set up for him to come from the acceleration zone. He's not set up for him to come from the upper left. Let's see what these Widow Mines can do. A couple are going to burrow up. Okay, this way he starts losing those probes, Nathaniel, just in case we were missing that last game a little bit too much. We've got 40 probe kills, and now we're going to go in. And these Zealots going to start by going to the natural. I don't actually know if I like that.
Well, as long as Drogo can avoid the dreaded 7 versus 70 army supply while he loses all of his workers, I think that there's still an opportunity, but he has to pull back. This was a really good adjustment by souL. The way that he lifted the mines to prevent the single zealots from baiting the shots out, kind of keeping that kinetic energy stored, ready to rock and roll. But how did he? I don't know how he managed to slip that other mine in. He's good. He's good at that.
No, he's it's just scary though, right? Because it means at any moment you can just lose a mineral line, and that's what's so powerful about having drilling claws. Now he's going to drop 3 medevacts down, and I don't mind that either because he's got a pretty good defensive setup. It's only gotten better with these liberators. Yeah, you maybe have to pull these SCVs away a little bit, but you're about a triple drop on the bottom of the map, and Drogo has nothing there. So 3 drops come in, instantly force a recall. Cool. He's going to lift up, get out, and now you're not under pressure on your third base any longer.
There you go. Softened up a couple of probes, the cannon. Another cannon does finish, and the Phoenix make this a little awkward. It's just the one Phoenix, actually, so maybe he can get away. Archon interception, meh. And as we were just seeing as well, that the Viking tells the Warp Prism, you should probably step off, brother. Actually, the Warp Prism is going to stay there and die, even though it has the speed upgrade.
11 probes just went down to a couple of Widow Mines, so once again, Drogo is doing the lose all your worker build. And it's obviously not as bad yet. Oh, bait into some Widow Mines over here. Ow. He realized.
Too fast, too furious.
Yeah. That would have been cool, though.
That was always the biggest fear. It's like, oh, you get creep and the speed zone. And then, like, as long as the unit keeps moving, the 2.5 seconds to lock on for the mine will never be satisfied.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Zerglings with creep teleport through those acceleration zones. They go in one side, they come out the other.
Oh, yeah. It's like how the Flash beat that guy who could teleport in a race. Good times. Good times, Wardy.
Hey, nice EMP is going to soften up those Archons. There is no shield battery coverage on this 4th base, so it's a great place to sort of fight because you just don't have the usual defensive setup that you would usually have on bases. He blinks in, but the tank coverage is really good, giving a lot of damage to those Stalkers. Obviously, the Colossi are doing decent damage from the back. A Disruptor kind of misses, in all honesty. Another shot coming through. This one does connect a bit better, but even still, Nate, there's a decent amount of bio left to finish off that Nexus, and souL can lift up and get out of there. And I think just taking the 4th base down is a big enough win for souL right now.
That was massive. He's got another wave of units moving across, too. So while the Colossi can go up the ramp to deal with that, this little Marine Marauder contingent will try to poke the Stalkers. He's going to get one more Colossus kill and another one. Oh, my God. Well, I think you try to send some of those medevacs home. If you want to keep 1 or 2 back to harass, that's fine. But 5 medevacs for 1 of them with units is a bit risky. I think in this situation, if you're souL, now you want to just kind of gather your strength and get ready for one more big attack because everything here is kind of coming up aces for him at this point.
Yeah, he's winning every fight that happens, right? Like, even if his army gets cleaned out, he's picked off a very important base, right? That's what happened on this 4th. And defensively, it was in that sort of, vein as well. Yeah, everything is, you're right, coming to bases and, 2-2 against 1-1 for a few more seconds. Won't get any extra use out of that, but he makes the fusion core and souL gets ready just in case this goes even longer, right? He's going to get fusion core, he's going to get liberator range. He's just going to be prepared just in case he can't quite find a killing blow, which is totally possible fighting into a defensive Protoss sometimes.
Yeah, that's it's a smart move, right? It's like there's no reason to give up opportunities to close the game out just because you think you're far enough ahead that it doesn't matter, right? Being responsible means getting the upgrades that you know you would need if you're going into this late game on an even footing. And that should make this a little bit less difficult for him to eventually close out. It's going to take a play or two on the part of Drogo to win this, since we talk about Protoss is supposed to be about a base ahead of Terran in these days. They get that 3rd way earlier. They get the 4th way earlier. You kind of deal with the mine drops, and if you don't take a lot of damage, you end up with a big army. But if the Terran gets that 4th so much faster setup, and now the 5th, you're going to be drowning in liberators and mine drops or actually, it doesn't even need to be mines anymore. You just be getting doom dropped on both sides of the map at the same time if the Terran runs away with this much money.
Yeah, I want to bring it back to losing that Warp Prism. Because if he had that Warp Prism still alive, souL cannot commit around the map as he has been doing. And because he's been putting so much pressure on since that Warp Prism went down, Drogo just did not find a chance to rebuild it. So he's just had zero pressure to come onto the map. And that just means he's, souL, he's just playing souL's game. And we know how powerful just a warping of Zealots can be. So I would have loved to see maybe a sneak in of another Prism rebuild.
Yeah. And I love that you bring that up, because that goes back to that recall where you're like, oh, he dropped 3 medevacs, didn't kill anything. Oh, he forced a recall. While that happened, the Warp Prism was AFK and 1 Viking killed it, even though he had Prism speed. Like a Prism with speed moves like twice as fast as a Viking. So it should never be able to kill it. That's the reaction caused by souL bringing that pressure, by forcing his opponent to divert his attention, to look in other areas of the map, which, as you pointed out before this map even started, Gigantha is a massive map. So there's a huge amount of space and distance that you need to cover when you're dealing with these types of plays. And that makes recall more valuable on this map than most others.
Yeah, no, it's you need it really as the Protoss player, right? Because otherwise you would just never be able to leave your base at this point. Because
that's how it was before they added recall.
Yeah, the orbital.
I've never seen that before. Imagine if you just... I've never seen a Protoss walk up to a Terran base and be like, I don't need to kill anything except the orbital. I'm just going to launch 11 disruptor shots, kill the orbital, and back off. I'm good. That's all I need. I've never seen that happen before, but I almost just did, and it was about as cool as I maybe would have thought it could have been.
souL's on his way to more liberators, nukes as well, as there's the recall to get Drogo a bit better position for dealing with this. The disruptor's hitting Archon and not much else. This one is going to kind of find dead center, but souL backed away, so doing okay here. souL, as he continues to trade out, the disruptors are kind of jumping forward, and that becomes expensive as now souL will just commit right side. He'll get rid of the Colossus. The disruptors are still running forward here, Nate. What are they doing?
Everything, Wardy. I mean, the only bulwark in this defense is that Archon, because these units were getting a little bit low on the hit point side, and the medevacs were running out of energy. So the Archon splash, especially with the bonus damage against Bio, ends up helping tremendously. But that's an awkward situation to be put in. I mean, disruptors are great comeback units, but that's why you get the liberators. That's why you get advanced ballistics for that range upgrade, because they are the apex predator of the disruptor. That forces out other expensive units. We did see a fleet bacon finish, Wardy. There are 2 Stargates, but can he really afford to start building Tempest to deal with the ranged libs? I think survey says doubt.
Yeah, absolutely not. In what world? And that's the thing as well, right? Because he kind of knows he needs it, but then what do you give up to do it? I mean, this ground army is already questionable at best, right? Like pure disruptor stalker. Like, okay, you're gonna make the Terran dance around with his bio units. That's great. It doesn't actually damage him. So, yeah, this army's great at maybe buying time and stopping a fight from happening, but it's not actually good at winning fights unless the Terran decides not to micro.
Yeah. So, gonna push back the command center on the west side, but he still has the northwest corner base. And one of the other things I think that makes this map nice for Terran is the corner base is so choked off. It's a lot easier to prevent like a big spread of zealots or something from coming in against a planetary if you use that for your defense. So it's quite an easy position to take care of. I don't think losing that CC is too big of a deal. Economically, it's been phenomenal for him. The nuke does not really hit pay dirt. The probes were saved on the west side for Drogo, but he gets the cancel on the southeast, and he's really been all over the place, which, as we've talked about the size of this map, still very impressive. That is a lot of disruptors, though.
It is. I still stand by the idea of what do they really do? Oh my God, Soul's gonna go for it! Got no idea what's happening, Nate! I think someone...
He's like, you can take half my army, you Protoss bastard, but I'll take every damn disruptor in this game. And unfortunately, there's only one race that usually wins when most of their army is the basic unit, Wardy, and that is the Terran. So back to double production on the disruptors. It's going to take a little bit of time to get those great balls of fire revved up and ready to go again.
Oh, I like to think the bio units call that the disruptor lottery. You all just stim in and see which ones hit and which ones don't.
It's like, sir, there are 13 units here that can kill our entire army in one volley. Just kill them before they detonate, guys. It's no problem. There are 13 of them, sir. Just go. It's fine. Oh, beautiful hit.
That hit is good. Is this turning around for Drogo a little bit? Maybe.
Just imagine you're the Marauder next to that clump that didn't die, and you just like, you're like, yes, we can do this, guys. Guys, like, oh, they're all in pieces all over the floor. Well, this didn't go quite according to plan. A little bit of the Zap Brannigan strategy there, maybe, Wardy.
The problem is it's only 2 disruptors right now, and that's got me a bit worried. I mean, in theory, Soul's got the money and the economy to rebuild back up off of this, because it's not like he needs like a lot of fancy stuff to really deal with this. He is going to start losing that orbital. I mean, this is where disruptors are kind of powerful, where you can push the bio away from somewhere they need to be. Okay, Drogo gets a 5th base start bottom right. I mean, is this the first step towards stabilizing?
Perhaps it is. This all I'm gonna say is thus far this series has definitely been delivering, Wardy. I'm enjoying watching this. This is they're dancing on the edge of a knife. This is like it's a shirtless fist fight on top of Metal Gear right now, and I'm all for it.
Disruptor shots keep on coming. There's a little squad that's going to start targeting firing down those disruptors. He's getting a few of them. The Stalker count is actually getting hit hard by Liberators, and it is not